Esto es El Banquillo SV, transmitiendo para el mundo.
¿Qué tal, amigos del banquillo? En este enlace especial vamos a platicar con Bill Kiser. Él es Sports Editor, editor de deportes de The Daily News, periódico de Virgin Islands US de Estados Unidos, Islas Vírgenes estadounidenses. Así que vamos a conversar. Él habla inglés, algunas palabras en español nada más. Así que voy a ir traduciendo las palabras que Bill nos va a decir en inglés. How are you, Bill? Good evening.
Good evening, Carlos. Doing very well, thank you.
Okay, then we want to talk about this game that will be on Saturday between the US Virgin Islands and El Salvador. How is the people there, the crowd, looking forward to this game? ¿Qué espera la afición de Islas Vírgenes hacia ese partido?
Very much. The island has pretty much been on lockdown for several months because of COVID-19 pandemic. And the March match they held here against, hold on, I'm looking this up, Antigua and Barbuda was really the first sporting event, or really event of any kind, that spectators were allowed into. But even then, there were restrictions, like you had to have been vaccinated. You had to provide the proof of that. You had to have your temperature checked when you walked in. They limited the size of the crowd, the whole social distancing thing, all that.
And that's not happening on Saturday?
We're still waiting to hear. That may still be in place because there's been an uptick in cases in the VI over the last week to 10 days. We really haven't heard from the health department on that, so we know there will be spectators. We do know that. We don't know if it will be under the rules from March matches or if they're going to be doing something different.
All right, but the stadium can have about 5,000 people, right?
Their stadium can seat up around 1,200. For the last match, that was restricted to about 200 total. And from my memory, they had about 150 there. Primarily because they were really so late in getting the word out about not only could spectators attend, but hey, you had to be vaccinated and all the rules. Now that there's been time, if they stick with that same rule package, then they could have more people there.
Okay, then I'm going to translate all that. Bueno, lo que nos está
Go
explicando Bill es que hay mucha expectación en la isla. Por ejemplo, en marzo, cuando se enfrentaron contra Antigua y Barbuda, venían de un cierre, como pasó en El Salvador también, ¿verdad? Un lockdown donde no había actividad, y ese fue como el más grande evento al que pudieron acceder los aficionados de Islas Vírgenes después de muchos meses. Entonces se hizo mucha expectación, y algo parecido está pasando rumbo al partido contra El Salvador. Me explica Bill que en el estadio normalmente caben 12,000 personas, pero que hay restricciones, ¿verdad? No va a poder haber esa cantidad. En marzo hubo menos de 200 personas. Es un poco lo que esperan también hacia este sábado para el partido de El Salvador. Y se van a tomar todas las medidas, toma de temperatura y demás. Bill, we would like to know more about the VI team, your national squad. Which ones are the three key players of this team? Los tres jugadores clave del equipo.
That would, they've changed the roster around so much. Back in March, they were having to use more of their local-based players because a lot of their players are college players. And of course, in March, that is the heart of the NCAA and NAIA soccer season. So no one was really getting let loose to play in an international match. This time around, there's more of their college level players who are going to be part of this. So I'm going to take a quick look here at today's match. The VI lost to Montserrat 4-0 just a few hours ago.
Yeah.
Okay, come on.
Actually, that's really bad news for VI because that's elimination, right? It's the end.
Yeah, that pretty much takes them out of the running and really puts Montserrat in the driver's seat as far as the group standings go. I mean, right now, from what I'm calculating out, El Salvador really is facing 2 must-win matches coming up in the next few days.
Exactly.
One guy that you really need to keep an eye on for this match is Jimson St. Louis. He's forward. He plays for a small college team in the States that the last report advanced to the national championship game in their small college division. And he was their leading scorer, had something like 22, 23 goals for them. And I've kind of watched him since he played high school here, and very fast, very, very nimble footwork. Someone to keep an eye on there.
All right.
Another guy to keep an eye on is Axel Barsh. He's the defender, but he's one of those defenders that if you kind of lose track of him, he could be one of these guys that's coming from the defensive line all the way up to the forward line with the ball and doing something with it.
Can you have the name again?
Axel Barsh, Bartsch.
All right.
Third guy to keep an eye on, and he's primarily a defender, but he's also one of these guys who has a lot of college experience, Carson Kendall. He wasn't able to play with the team in the last round of matches, but he's with them this time. College player, plays in the States for a High Point University. And that was an NCAA tournament team, I believe, this past season. So he's now available. Again, another defender that if you lose track of him, he can take that ball and get it up into the forward line.
All right, then. I'm going to translate about the key guys.
Translate away.
Ok, then. Lo que Bill nos explica es que el roster, el listado de Islas Vírgenes estadounidenses ha cambiado mucho. En marzo usaron muchos jugadores de la liga local porque había otros futbolistas que normalmente llaman al equipo nacional, pero estaban con sus equipos de college en ligas universitarias de Estados Unidos. La NCAA estaba en plena temporada, entonces no era posible que los liberaran para partidos internacionales. En cambio, ahora sí pueden contar con ellos. Está un delantero que se llama Jameson St. Louis. Dice que a nivel de college anotó entre 22 a 23 goles en el último torneo. Es un jugador muy rápido. Y también hay 2 jugadores defensores que son Axel Barsh y Carson Kendall, que él los menciona como, si bien se dedican a la parte defensiva en el sistema de Islas Vírgenes estadounidenses, también se pueden incorporar al ataque con mucha facilidad, y pues esto hay que ponerle un ojo. Bill, we would like to know about the soccer league or the football soccer league in IV. Is it professional? They live by playing soccer, or they just have another profession?
A lot of guys have a second job. It's a professional league, but not in the sense of the word as you would see in South America or even some of the smaller Central American countries.
Yeah.
And a lot of the really good players, they, either they're in college or are playing internationally. For example, one of their key players plays in Australia right now, and he's not able to take part in this because of Australia's pretty draconian COVID rules that basically say you leave the country, you're locked down for 2 weeks if you try to come back, if we let you in.
What's the name of this player in Australia that's having that situation?
JC Mack.
JC Mack, all right.
JC Mack.
Well,
he's played internet.
Thank you, Australia.
Yeah, he's in Australia and New Zealand now, and he's played internationally. He's played Iceland and Europe, and he's been around the international scene, so he kind of has a real good sense. And if this was a guy who was here, this would be a much better team.
All right.
Unfortunately, because of the rules,
all right,
you had to make a decision.
I'm going to translate all that when lo que nos explica Bill en esta parte es que la mayoría de jugadores en Islas Vírgenes, en la liga local, pues tienen un segundo trabajo, si bien son profesionales, reciben dinero por jugar, pero no se dedican solamente al fútbol, no es como en clubes en Sudamérica o en Centroamérica, la mayoría están a nivel de college, universitario, como nos explicaba, algunos de ellos en Estados Unidos. Y nos comenta un jugador que él sí ha estado incluso jugando a nivel europeo, incluso en Islandia, menciona Bill, que se llama JC Mack, pero él vive en Australia. Y en ese país, debido al COVID-19, tienen la regla de que si tú sales del país, al volver tienes que pasar por una cuarentena de 15 días. Y entonces, pues, él decidió que eso no era conveniente. Considera Bill que si estuviera Mac por ahí, pues podría ser un equipo más potente, incluso Islas Vírgenes, pero bueno, yo le digo a él bromeando que gracias a Australia, porque no está este jugador. Bill, what do you think it would be a good result for IB on this game against El Salvador? It's a continental squad. You know, it's not Caribbean, it's continental.
Yeah.
So what do you think about a good result against El Salvador?
Here's a question for you. Have the domestic leagues been playing in El Salvador?
Yes, we have been playing normally. Yeah.
So that's an advantage then for El Salvador, because the domestic league, what is called the USVI Premier League, has not been able to play at all since last year because of the COVID lockdown.
Since March 20.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So
they tried to get
in all these months, Bill.
Yeah. You know, they've been able to work out, but as far as holding matches, the health department has pretty much said, no, we're not ready to let you guys get out on the field. Now, this may start changing after this week's match with El Salvador, once the health department sees, okay, these guys can play and not really get each other and everybody else sick. So we might let them start playing. It might be, again, a limited size crowd, but at least they'll be able to start playing. So with El Salvador's domestic league going, their players come in having a pretty distinct advantage because they've all either played with each other or they've played against each other, and they kind of have a sense of what their teammates can do.
All right. Actually, our final game on our Salvadorian league was last Sunday when FAS became champion. So yeah, we have been playing normally.
Yeah. Okay. Unfortunately, it's not the case here.
Yeah. So considering that an advantage for El Salvador,
very much so.
What do you think it would be a good score for IB? For VI.
A good score is if the VI scored. They've been kind of shut out so far in 3 matches in this go round here, and putting points on the board's been kind of a problem for them really the last 2 years in international competition. I just finished writing up about their match, which was on Wednesday night against Montserrat, which they lost 4-0.
Yeah.
And, you know, the closest match they've had was a 1-0 loss.
All right.
That was back in March. So
it's hard.
Just getting on the board would be kind of a victory for them right now.
Okay, then. I'm going to translate. Lo que explica Bill es que él considera que en realidad están en desventaja. ¿Por qué? Porque la Liga Premier de Islas Vírgenes estadounidenses ha estado completamente parada, inactiva, desde marzo de 2020 que estalló la pandemia del COVID-19. Entonces no han jugado, la liga está parada. Caso contrario a El Salvador, que nosotros, como sabemos, sí hemos tenido nuestra liga funcionando pues con normalidad desde finales del año pasado. Eso considera que le da ventaja a El Salvador. Sin embargo, dice que las autoridades sanitarias de Islas Vírgenes los dejaron entrenar y que pues eso les ha servido un poco. Y que incluso después de estos partidos internacionales pues podrían reabrir la liga, pero han estado detenidos y eso le ofrece una ventaja a El Salvador. Está consciente además de que pues su equipo no ha podido anotar en los 3 partidos que lleva, el último de ellos 4-0, la derrota de este 2 de junio frente a Montserrat. Entonces ya solo anotar, dice Bill, que sería importante para ellos, y está consciente que poner puntos en la pizarra, dice, lograr aunque sea un empate, les ha sido difícil en los últimos 2 años, no solamente en los resultados recientes, sino que en los últimos años, y que para ellos, pues, un empate, ¿verdad? Tener un punto al menos en la pizarra sería algo positivo. Bill, I would like to know some words in your experience about these 2 players. Lionel Brown, I see, is the goalkeeper, and Ramses Moore McGuinness. I understand that they are important in the team, but I don't find information about the club they play. They don't have a club?
Both are local players.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, Ramses is just out of high school. So he's been playing for one of the local clubs, of course, haven't been able to play. Same with Lionel. Lionel has been a star goalkeeper for some of the local clubs here, but again, like we talked about earlier, those guys really haven't been able to play. They've been able to work out, but as we both know, you can practice all you want, but until you get them in a game situation, all that practice is really just running around kicking a ball.
Totally. All right, then. I'm going to translate that. Le preguntamos por 2 jugadores que han sido importantes en los últimos resultados y alineaciones titulares de Islas Vírgenes, como son el arquero Lionel Brown y el delantero Ramses Moore McGuinness. Dice que sí, que son jugadores importantes, juegan en la liga local, pero como lo explicó hace un momento, pues no tienen club, son jugadores de la liga local, y pues este periodo de inactividad, pues los tienen desventaja, ¿verdad? Y no están mostrando ahorita su mejor nivel. Bill, I have a question that it's not about soccer or football, but it's about traveling to VI. I mean, it's how much time does it take to get to the island traveling by airplane from Miami?
From Miami, you're looking at probably 2.5 to 3 hours, really depending upon weather, what you've got to skirt around and things like that. There's plenty of direct flights from Miami, Atlanta, New York, Charlotte, North Carolina, even Dallas, Fort Lauderdale. I mean, that's one thing that's really kind of the whole COVID-19 thing, because things are kind of opened up a little bit more on the island as far as the tourists are concerned. They've been flooding in from the States, and probably the hotels and the Airbnbs and such have had just record numbers as far as guests, being in the rooms and such, and the restaurants and all that are having, SRO, standing room only crowds in the evenings, people, tourists wanting to dine. So,
right.
it's not hard to get here. It's just the hoops you got to kind of jump through. You've got to have, the COVID tests that you come in with. You got to have that done before you come in, and don't think about trying to fake that, because they've put a law in the books that you come in, you try to display a fake COVID-19 test result, you're going to jail.
Even if you are foreign?
Yeah, you're going to jail if it's a fake result. Like if you come in a paper, with a forged document saying, yeah, I had a COVID test and it was negative.
Jail.
$5,000 fine. Jail.
$5,000 fine, Bill.
Yeah, and they've already caught, I'm going to say maybe a dozen people, maybe a little less, that have tried to do that, people coming in from the States.
1,000
So,
people.
yeah, it's a dozen. 12.
Dozen. 1, 12. 1, 2. 12.
1, 2, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit less.
Well, still a bunch of people trying to fake these tests. All right.
Yeah,
So
but we're still getting record crowds in the airports, not just here, but on St. Croix, people wanting to go to St. John.
All right.
It's
well, I'm going to translate that because that's worth it.
Translate away.
It's very important. Nos explica Bill que en realidad no es tan difícil viajar a Islas Vírgenes estadounidenses como sí lo es tal vez para otros destinos caribeños. Dice que normalmente es un viaje desde Estados Unidos que dura entre 2 a 3 horas, partiendo de lugares como Miami, Atlanta, North Carolina o Dallas. Dice que no es para nada difícil llegar. De hecho, dice que hay muchos visitantes de Estados Unidos que quizá intentando escapar de ese tema del COVID han llegado a la isla y que tienen llenos en los hoteles, los restaurantes, los Airbnbs, que hay muchísima gente llegando, pero cuidado, porque dice que si tú presentas una prueba de COVID diciendo que no lo tienes y es una prueba falsa, pues tienen un reglamento interno, imagino una ley, donde van a prisión. O sea, tú entregas una prueba falsa y vas a prisión y tienes que pagar una multa de $5,000. A pesar de ello, dice que alrededor de 12 personas pues han caído en esta situación en la isla y pues hay que tener cuidado, ¿verdad? Ojalá que la Selecta lleve todo en orden y que no lleven pruebas falsas y que todo esté bajo reglamento. Okay, then, Bill, thank you very much for having us in this conversation. We hope that it's going to be a great game, and we hope all the best for you people there in Virgin Islands.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing this match. Like I said earlier, this is really kind of a must-win for El Salvador because of the way Montserrat is playing right now. They won that match, so that kind of puts them on top of the group standings.
5 points.
And with 5 points, they tied Montserrat. So if it turns out that El Salvador loses one of its 2 matches coming up, then that puts them kind of in a bad situation.
Totally. So let's see what happens. Thank you, Bill, for having us on this conversation. Greetings from El Salvador.
No problem. Greetings from the U.S. Virgin Islands.